One of the most talked about things that's happened here in Missoula this year is the purchase of Community Medical Center by the Billings Clinic, and how the Attorney General's office is going to have some sort of involvement in this. Can you tell me, I understand you guys have, first of all, you're looking into it, but there's also going to be an opportunity for folks here in Missoula to sound off, right?
Yeah, back in mid-September, we put up a comment page on the Department of Justice's website that gave people an opportunity to submit comments. We also received comments in writing. People would send us letters and emails and whatnot. And the next step is for us to hold a public forum, which is going to take place next Wednesday on November 19th at 5:30 p.m. at Hellgate High School in the auditorium there in Missoula. And we're going to have the parties to the transaction. They'll be allowed to give a presentation and make their case. We will have some representatives from our Office of Consumer Protection who will be there to basically discuss the scope of our review of the transaction, and then the public will have an opportunity to ask questions or comment there. And then, of course, people can comment again on the website. I've had people ask and say, well, I've submitted a comment. Can I submit another one? Well, there's no limit. You can submit as many comments as you want. The comments have been constructive and very thoughtful. I'm just blown away by the thought and the heart that people have put into this. It's very obvious that they care about this. They care about their community, and we're putting a lot of time into this. The public forum is the next step. Unlike the Blue Cross Blue Shield transaction, which actually had in law, mechanisms for public input, it's not required in this case. Nonetheless, it is very important to us because we know that it is very important to the public, and so we're excited to hold this. Looking forward to having hopefully lots of people there.
So, John, following this public comment period, how long before the Attorney General's office issues an opinion on this?
Well, our goal, as we stated from the beginning, was to have this wrapped up by the end of the year. But there are a lot of steps in this process, and things that we need to obtain from the parties to the transaction, and also market valuation to make sure that the sale price is reasonable, and also other documents that we need to obtain from Community Medical Center. And so there's a lot of moving parts here. Our goal is to have it done by the end of the year, but we can't make any promises on that. I can tell you that we are being thorough, and we're not going to sacrifice that thoroughness for the sake of an artificial timetable. So we're still aiming for that goal. I think things are on track there. If that does change, we will be letting folks know, of course.
Okay, so specifically for folks maybe coming in on this conversation at the very beginning, wondering what the Attorney General's office has to do with this, could you give us a little primer, if you would, as to why the Attorney General's office is involved in this and what exactly you're trying to accomplish?
Absolutely. We're involved because under Montana law, the Attorney General's office has a sort of oversight authority over nonprofits in this state. And because Community Medical Center is a nonprofit organization, and it is the proposed transaction, which is an acquisition by Billings Clinic, it would be essentially converting Community Medical Center to a for-profit entity. And so there are charitable assets there that have to be dealt with properly. And so one of the things that we're doing is reviewing any proposals by Community Medical Center on how those charitable assets would be utilized. But more than that, we're looking at the transaction to ensure that the members of the board of directors of Community Medical Center are fulfilling their fiduciary obligations to the organization, that they're acting in good faith, that there are no conflicts of interest in any aspect of this process. We're looking at, as I mentioned earlier, a market valuation to ensure that the price is fair. And also we'll be looking at the antitrust implications here to see how this might impact the provision of health care in the Missoula community. So those are just some of the things that we're looking at. Again, it is a limited review in terms of what's laid out in statute and in common law that we can look at, but there's a lot there, and we've been working on it for a while, and we'll continue until we're able to reach a conclusion.